Hi everyone, today it's all about annual leave. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Caroline. I'm a university lecturer here in the UK. If you're new around here, welcome along. I specialise in physics. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. Today I thought we could chat about annual leave. Now, I don't want this to come across as me whinging or moaning, and it's a very nice problem to have, but I really struggle every year to actually use up my annual leave allowance. And I'd love to know whether you find it difficult, if you're working in the academic sector, to also use up your annual leave. And in fact, if you're in the industrial sector, do you find it tricky? And I've been trying to work out why this is. So I'm a strong believer in a work-life balance, which I know is going to sound ridiculous because I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't use my annual leave up. But I do, and I advocate to my students that we really must take time away from our academic studies, from our work, in order to get that balance between our academic pursuits and the many and varied other interests going on in our lives. And I think one of the beautiful things about academic life is that you do get a certain amount of flexibility with your calendar. I think I've spoken about this in past videos, that, during a typical working week, during semester, I'm locked in by my timetable to certain activities. So I have to teach certain classes, attend certain meetings and committee meetings. But around those classes and those meetings, I do get flexibility in how I structure my day. And that is definitely a fantastic perk of being a lecturer. It means that if I want to go for a lunchtime run, not that I have recently, but if I want to go for a lunchtime run, I can put one in. If I want to start my working day very early, to finish slightly earlier because I need to go somewhere, I can. There is that certain amount of flex within my working week. And it's also true that as academics, we do work lots of hours. So although I think we have flexibility, I think our working week total number of hours are on the high side. And again, in other videos, I've spoken about the fact that I will be working some weekends. I do work in some of the evenings. But somehow, because it's balanced against having my freedom, if you like, to pick and choose a little bit when I'm doing these activities, it can really help make you feel like you've got some control over your working week. And I was wondering, is that the factor that then means I'm not using up my annual leave as quickly per year as perhaps I should? I mean, the other reason could be that I'm just bad at using up my annual leave and I need to put more dates into the diary more realistically and reliably. But the other thing, if you're an academic or you're working in a university setting, is it can be quite challenging to know when in the academic year to take your annual leave. Now, I've seen some of my colleagues, especially some of my professor colleagues, are very good at this. They seem to have found the periods in the year when they should take their annual leave. And I've noticed they book it in, 2 weeks here, 1 week here, they get it in the diary to make sure they're getting their break. And I think you can't take it during semester. So there's two 15-week periods where I'm teaching, where I really should be trying, if possible, to avoid using my annual leave because I'm in the classroom, I'm marking. But then when the exams finish at the end of the semester, their marking kind of starts for us as academics. So you can't take your leave then because you've got the end of semester, but you're now doing some marking. Then there's various boards and meetings that you have to go through to approve and ratify marks before they get released. So you can't really be away for those meetings. And now we're coming towards July. I'm thinking, okay, I should really take a bit more annual leave. But in July, there's often conference travel, or you might have research grant deadlines to write for. So I've got a couple of grant applications I'm applying for. They have July deadlines. So again, it's a bit tricky. You feel like I should be taking leave, but at the same time, you don't want to step away from the university and away from the work at that moment, because that's kind of like a key chance for me, at any rate, to win more money for future research projects and to network with colleagues. I think perhaps I'm finding it trickier as well because I'm the admissions tutor, and here in the UK, August is the month where students get their exam results from their schools and colleges, and the course university places get decided. And that takes up, a bit of time if you're the admissions tutor. August kind of gets impacted a bit by that. And I am wondering next year when I have a new role, so in a previous video I spoke about the fact that I'm no longer doing admissions and I'm going to be changing to being a placement tutor, that whether by having those Augusts back, it might give me a bit more flexibility as to when I take my annual leave. I know some colleagues like to take their annual leave in September because the schools, the child age schools have gone back, but we haven't started again at the university. So you can get some cheaper holiday deals. And again, I will try to do that. I will try to take a bit of time off in September. But September's also the month when you're gearing back up to return to academic teaching in October. So quite often you need to be preparing lecture courses, making sure your problem questions are correct, making sure your lecture materials are in the right places. So again, September can feel like it's quite a busy month with a lot to do. And at the end of our September, we have our welcome week at the university. So students are now back on campus. Our new intake of first years are back on campus. So again, that week's full of activities for them. So that's not really a week you want to be away. I'm really trying not to sound like I'm moaning, because having annual leave is a lovely benefit and package that comes with the job. It is part of the payment package that comes with being a lecturer. And I need to remember that. I need to remember that I get my salary, but also, a benefit of the job and being employed is that I do build up this annual leave, and therefore I should try to use it. So my tactic this year has been I've just taken lots of half days and full days. I'm putting a few in for June and July just to try to wind up a few of my annual leave days. And I'll take hopefully a bit of time towards the end of the month, not necessarily to go anywhere, but just to have a break and kind of step away from the university. It can be quite tricky as well, because not all of your colleagues will take holiday at the same time. And so, as always with all businesses, you will be getting emails and actions coming in whilst you are technically on your annual leave. And I know, again, some colleagues are really good at not looking at their inbox when they're on annual leave. And others of us, and myself included in the others, will periodically check our inbox whilst we're on holiday, which isn't necessarily the best practice. And it's certainly not something I'd expect any of my students to do. So therefore, I don't quite know why I do it. What I'm going to do next year to maximise my annual leave is I'm going to try to put at the start of the annual leave cycle, which for us is August, I'm going to try to block book a couple of weeks at different times in the year. So 1 week somewhere and 1 week somewhere else, just so I know I've got at least those periods of annual leave locked into the diary. I'm going to try to make sure I've got a few longer weekends. And then I'm going to check in with myself at the end of every month to say, okay, how many annual leave days have I got left to use and when am I going to use them? And hopefully that will stop me squidging all my annual leave days towards the end of the period. Let me know though, how do you tackle your annual leave? Do you get not enough annual leave? Do you get too much annual leave? Do you feel like you can never take it? Do you feel like you're just too busy to take it? Or are you really good at saying, no, this is my holiday time and I'm going to take my annual leave at this particular point? Let me know. As I said, I'll be working for the next few weeks. So I will see you next Monday with another academic video. We are now into the summer season at the university, so a lot is happening. A lot of things change in the summer. So I'll let you in on what's going on and what's the difference between being an academic in the semester and an academic in the undergraduate summer. But in the meantime, look after yourselves. Have a really good week. Let me know about your annual leave and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.